I'm Taryn Paris, Managing Editor of The Urban Developer, and today I'm here with Ian Barter. Ian, can you tell me a bit about your role with Fraser's Property Industrial and how long you've been there?
Yeah, I'm the Managing Director for Australia, so ultimately responsible for the performance and growth of the business across the Australian region. And I've been with the group for coming up on 20 years next January, so quite a long time.
Oh, that's a great milestone. Can you sort of give me a feel for how that industrial sector's really changed over that time?
It's almost unrecognisable from what it was 20 years ago. The facilities we build are a mission critical piece of infrastructure in society, but most importantly, they're critical for our customers. So once upon a time, I think back when I started, a warehouse was a necessary evil. So it was a place to store goods between a customer getting it from their supplier and sending it to their customer. And somewhere along the way, customers realised that these are a valuable tool for their business. So working out how they can operate them more efficiently, how they can make sure the throughput of goods works well, how they can store as much as possible has really made a difference to their businesses and obviously the importance in making sure their businesses thrive.
And how has that sort of played out in terms of the look and feel of warehouse design?
Yeah. Look, it's again unrecognisable. So 20 years ago, an industrial facility was maybe 6-7 metres clearance, an old sawtooth, post World War II construction style facility, very harsh environment, lots of concrete, asbestos clad. So if you can picture that, and then today, it's a state of the art, very sophisticated, very aesthetically pleasing design, brings in a lot of natural materials, also very sustainable in its design, lots of landscaping, etc. But more importantly, very high tech. So these facilities are now 13, 14, 15 metres, even higher. What happens inside the facility is very, very automated, a lot of robotics, a lot of technology that you wouldn't have seen 20 years ago. So a facility of 20 years ago just wouldn't survive today.
And I know you have a really customer-centric focus in your role with Fraser's Property. Can you give me a feel for what customers are really after in terms of the assets that they're looking at with Fraser's?
Yeah, well, we see ourselves as a real enabler for our customers. So we see ourselves as a linchpin in making sure their businesses reach their optimal performance and they get the best out of what they can from our facility. So when they come to us, what they're looking for is our expertise to help them design these facilities, to make sure they operate as efficiently as possible. But more importantly, they really meet the needs of their bespoke business. A lot of warehouses, if you drove out into Western Sydney or Western Melbourne or Brisbane, look the same from the outside. But when you get inside and you see the nuts and bolts of what happens, they're very different, from someone storing pharmaceuticals to someone storing power tools to someone distributing and storing food products. They all operate very differently, so we really need to work closely with our customers to understand their business intimately, to make sure we can serve them as best we can.
Fraser's also has a big focus on health and wellbeing as part of its communities and estates.
Yeah.
How does that play out in the industrial space, and what's the next step?
Yeah, great question. We've really worked hard on our design of not only our buildings but our precincts to make sure we cater for the health and wellbeing of the occupants. That's everything from the look and feel of the building, a lot of natural light, a lot of natural materials. Connection with outdoor space is important as well, so landscaping and open space for staff to use. Amenity, everything from food offerings to outdoor gyms, cycleways, etc. Health and wellbeing is extremely important, and we've really incorporated that into our design. It's something we've worked hard on over the last couple of years. We've refreshed our building design and we have a new design guidelines for each of our industrial facilities, and we've also released a concept called Premium Estates.
And what does the refreshed design guideline look like?
Yeah, look, it's a completely different palette of materials. So aesthetically, the buildings are a lot more sophisticated and pleasing. There's a lot more natural light, natural materials, increased landscaping, connection with outdoor space. All those things, those little intangibles that really add to the employee experience. Two spring to mind: the yards in Kemps Creek in Western Sydney and Vantage Yatala in southeast Queensland are two that we're rolling out the Premium Estates concept. And basically what it is what we've done on a building form, but across a precinct-wide basis. So introducing a lot more outdoor space, increased landscaping, a lot more amenity, and that amenity can be in the form of outdoor gym equipment, cycleways, exercise equipment, etc. Also amenities such as food offerings, gyms, childcare, just to make sure that the placemaking that I mentioned earlier we're really bringing that to industrial precincts.
And how does that attract and retain tenants, for example, in those particular projects?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that people don't realise what a benefit is until they experience it. So we're getting great feedback from our tenants and our customers. Repeat customers is a big part of our business. It's about 40% of the business we do on a year-on-year basis. And we've started rolling it out, as I said, in New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland, and we've got a number of customers who have gone from one estate to another.
And I know that Fraser's Property Industrial is a full service developer. Can you tell me how that gives you a competitive edge in the market?
Yeah, look, we like to think it gives us a competitive edge because we control the process from start to finish. So when someone comes to us, if they've got a question, a query or a challenge, we can handle it from start to finish. And so that's everything from designing the estates up front, bringing in the infrastructure and the services, etc. We have in-house architects, in-house cost planners, in-house planning managers to manage the authority approvals, etc. Right through project management. We finish the building, we then facilities management, asset management, property management. So it's that end-to-end solution that we think really solves the problems for our customers in terms of they don't have to look anywhere else, they just come to us.
And obviously the shed has changed a lot from the dirty big shed out in the backwaters into something that's much more high-end, better fit-outs, nicer amenities. But there are different typologies that are starting to come through as well. Can you talk us through what you're seeing out there in terms of the changing types of sheds?
Yeah, look, as I think I said earlier, they all look similar from the outside, but what happens inside can change a lot. We're seeing a lot more higher office content, so we're seeing a lot more front house workers working in these facilities as well. As you mentioned, they're a lot more sophisticated than they used to be, so there's a lot of technology, and what I mean by that, a lot of these facilities can be fully automated or partially automated. You may have robotics. Those things need a higher order employee to operate them, so you do see a higher order employee within these facilities as well. But yeah, technology has really played a big part in the evolution of the industrial facilities and the humble shed, as it used to be called. And that's what's really changed and I suppose turbocharged the sector over the last 20 years.
And how has it changed the design of sheds themselves?
Everything from the height of the buildings to the floor loadings to column spacings to the sustainability nature to whether the facilities are climate controlled or not. There's quite a diverse range of changes that have happened over time. A lot of that is to really cater for the needs of the customer who really sees, as I mentioned earlier, these industrial facilities as a very important tool for the success of their business. And so investing in technology to improve the efficiencies of their operations has seen the nature of the facilities change with it.
And how do you think AI, robotics and technology innovation will change the industrial sector?
Yeah, it's going to have a massive influence on it. It already is, and it has over the last sort of 20 years, and that's why we're seeing such a massive change in the sector. That's only going to increase tenfold. And how someone maps their supply chain, the more they can analyse the data, the more they can use AI, the Internet of Things, shared data across platforms will only improve that. And I think what you'll start to see data and analytics really influence the physical flow of product and how it moves through a city, through a port, and through a warehouse.
And taking a longer term view, if we think about 100 years, the next 100 years, what do you think will be the megatrends that impact the industrial real estate sector?
I think of probably three things, trends that maybe have always been there and will continue. One is industrial and logistics is very linked to consumption and how a consumer operates. And I think whether it's now or in 100 years' time, someone will want variety of choice, they'll want something cheap and they'll want it quickly. So I think that trend will remain. So back to your last mile point, that will continue to push the sector. Sustainability, that's everything we do now, everyone's talking about sustainability and obviously net zero and being carbon neutral. I think how facilities are made, how they're powered and how the vehicles that move around them and to and from them are powered will be a big thing in the future, and I assume in the not too distant future that will be carbon neutral. And the last one we talked about is technology. I think that will probably be, if I had to pick one of the three, that would be the one that will influence it the most. What that then looks like in 100 years might be you just think about what you want and it falls out of the sky into your backyard. I don't know.
The 0 minute city.
Yeah, correct.
I love that.
Correct.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Ian. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.